So I mean, Jon Stewart is calling them all out, guys. I gotta ask you guys: is Jon Stewart becoming because I've always felt Jon Stewart was a Democrat, and maybe he still is, but is he now more independent? Is Jon Stewart coming to the other side? Is he becoming a conservative or possibly a Republican? I remember him being so liberal before.
Party icons and lifelong Republicans. They had a guy yelling, "Screw the billionaires," followed immediately by a very happy billionaire.
Oh my God. Yo, some of these Democrats are just not that smart, guys. I mean, I hate to say it. And I'm not like saying like because you're a Democrat you're not smart, but some of these Democrats are just not smart. You're talking crap about the very guys that are funding your campaigns. That's not a good move.
It's all okay if it's our billionaire.
Oh my goodness, the hypocrisy. Oh, the hypocrisy is just over. The hypocrisy is on another level on the Democratic side. I'm sorry.
I don't like billionaires, but he's all right.
Strong. That's strong.
I'll go for Trump.
Me too. I'll go for Donald Trump. Me too. I'll go for Trump.
Who are you voting for in 2024?
Trump.
I don't think people understand the extent of Trump's fixation on crowd size and political grandstanding. At a recent rally in Atlanta, Trump fixated on crowd sizes, belittling Vice President Kamala Harris's event attendance.
They had guys making fun of people for going to Yale, and a bunch of people who went to Yale.
I really feel like these Democrats, they really need to research their arguments and their debate perspectives, because you can't attack your challenger. They're basically, a lot of these Democrats are attacking J.D. Vance for having gone to Yale, trying to make J.D. Vance seem like he's all prestigious and, you know, he's out of touch with the American people. And the very people that they're bringing on stage during the Democratic National Convention, the DNC, and many of their financial supporters graduated from Yale, or at least went to Yale. Unbelievable. By the way, if you guys haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing and sharing these videos. You guys are always amazing and supportive.
And Barack Obama.
Did Barack Obama go to Yale?
And Jewish Barack Obama. That's always good for politics. You know what really works? A Jewish guy that sounds like a black guy.
Best of both worlds.
The Democrats had people who prosecuted sexual predators and...
Wow. Did you guys catch that? The people who prosecuted sexual predators, and then they bring up the guy who is accused of being a... Go ahead.
There goes that booking. They had black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, gay Americans, Jewish Americans, Palestinian Americans.
Oh, wait, they had those guys.
Well, to be fair, it was only 4 nights, 8 hours a night.
Oh my God, unbelievable.
Really, it's best not to think about the consequences of our actions over there.
Yeah, or, you know, let's not be burdened by what was or anything like that, right? But what kills me is like how many times, especially on CNN, they had interviewed a number of different people who, you know, either attended the DNC, watched the DNC, they were watching Kamala's speeches, and they're like, oh, you know, I really like Kamala. I give her an A, I give her a B, whatever. And then when it came to the policies, well, I wish she spent a little bit more time discussing her policies. But here's the thing, guys. They're like, well, she didn't have the time to go into policies. Guys, they had 8 hours a day, 5 days. And that's like a 40-hour work week for the average American, which she wouldn't know anything about. But she had plenty of time to discuss policy, but she just chose not to.
Over 100 students in a district outside of Boston will have to find a new way to get to school in September. They won't have bus service due to a shortage. This comes as the state started paying for buses for migrant students whose families recently moved into their community. So joining us now is Ashley Francois, a mom of 3 from that school district.
Wait a second. So you mean to tell me that my kids, your kids, can't go to school on a school bus that your tax dollars are paying for because the city is now choosing to spend those funds on illegal migrants? Like, what is going on here? Do we need Donald Trump in here, like, now? Like, forget the 2024 election. Get him in here now. What is going on here, folks? How are migrant children being prioritized ahead of American kids? This doesn't make any sense at all, guys.
Ashley, this is quite the story, and it's one that impacts you personally, I understand. You have, Is it 3 children, and all of whom now about to figure out a way to get to school?
1 out of my 3 children have a bus for the school year because she's in elementary. The other 2 are middle school and high school, and that's where they stopped buses for these kids.
I see one of them right there. I see one of the kids right there. That's make your way in. It's fine. And I understand.
But what is going on here, guys? How are we allowing this here in America? And see, this is what Kamala Harris wants to do. This is what Joe Biden wants to do. They know they're going to get the black vote. And it's funny because you hear all these complaints about Donald Trump leveraging Michaela Montgomery during Donald Trump's rally in Atlanta. Now, for those of you guys who don't happen to know who Michaela Montgomery is, Michaela is the black woman, very well-spoken, who basically grabbed the mic from Donald Trump during his rally in Atlanta. This was before the Donald Trump assassination attempt over in Butler, Pennsylvania. But anyway, she is the owner of the company and essentially a media company called Conserve the Culture. And she made waves during Donald Trump's rally. Well, what we're seeing here, guys, is we are seeing the United States of America being compromised yet again by the leadership in office. Okay? You want to know about Kamala Harris's policies? Look at them. Her policies are right in front of your face, and they're only going to get worse here. Okay? And it's interesting because the left, the Democrats, have accused Donald Trump of leveraging Michaela Montgomery's race to essentially garner black support, to essentially garner support from black voters. But what we're seeing from the Kamala Harris, Tim Walz side of the camp is essentially the same thing that they're accusing Donald Trump of doing. They're inviting celebrities of the hip-hop culture. Look at Meg Thee Stallion twerking on stage for votes. Essentially twerking for votes, guys. We're seeing Quavo. We're seeing Little John, as well as many other hip-hop artists, rappers, R&B singers, the likes. They even hinted toward Beyonce being at the final DNC rally and speech. Turns out that was a big letdown for a lot of folks. But this is what we're seeing. You guys want to know about what Kamala Harris's policies are? You want to know why Kamala Harris doesn't take interviews? This is why. There's no need to do any interviews. She's already in the presidential, in the Oval Office right now. If you wanted to know, is Kamala Harris going to be lowering taxes? Is Kamala Harris going to improve the educational system? Well, we're already seeing what Kamala Harris is doing with the educational system and what she's likely to continue to do on a grander scale if she becomes president of the United States.
I want to point out a couple of obvious statements. These have been out there from the very beginning. One is right here. You want to talk about inciting violence, inciting an insurrection. You want to talk about the ideas of promoting violence. Well, right here you've got Kamala Harris, who is actually trying to raise funds for the very people who are setting fire to our cities in 2020. Why don't we go look at Minneapolis? Why don't we go look at Seattle, New York, Baltimore? Why don't we look at what CHOP was doing, what was being encouraged? Why don't we look at Maxwell Waters, who said we need to be more confrontational, or Nancy Pelosi, the former speaker, who said, I'm surprised there's not more people out in the streets rioting. Now let's look at what President Trump said, however. He said, these things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long, go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever. Well,
and yet they continue to blame Donald Trump for inciting an insurrection. Tim Walz essentially allowed his city to burn down. Tim Walz will join Kamala Harris in their attempt to allow America to burn itself down.
the media did remember this day forever, and so did the left, who continued to try and vilify it as something that it is not. But let me be clear. President Trump did not incite violence. This was not an insurrection. If this is an insurrection, then what about all the pro-Hamas members who sit in our Capitol and disrupt legislation, which just happened last week? Was that an insurrection? It was an unarmed group who was disrupting federal legislative process. That's what everyone in the media and all the left continues to try and claim. But the bottom line is that it was never about policing, and it was all about politics. This is election interference. This is trying to remove someone that they know will be the president of the United States, someone who was the 45th, 46th, and will be the 47th president of the United States. This is about ensuring that they can try and remove him from the ballot by attacking his family, by attacking his businesses, by claiming that there was a false narrative set up for fraud regarding the actual valuation of his property Mar-a-Lago, which...
For those of you guys who aren't familiar with what the senator is discussing right now, he's literally referencing the case that was against him in New York City. Judge Arthur Engoron, Letitia James, and a team of other DOJ and George Soros funded, backed agents of terror were coming after Donald Trump, his businesses, after some alleged fraud allegations, which I personally believe are just completely false. But of course, because, the paid judges, they're all Democrats. They leverage their position to attack Donald Trump, to attack his finances. They knew how much money Donald Trump had set aside for his campaign.
And I'm glad he out. Trump, the best.
Barack Obama, man, I ain't got no message to him. I don't mess with Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm a Trump supporter. Trump do more for black people and care more about black people. And Barack Obama ain't black. Just to let that be known.
What about Kamala Harris?
I don't with her either. All Trump all day.
Yeah. What's your message to Donald Trump today?
Keep going. Come get us, man. We waiting on you.
I love this guy right here. Let me get this guy. I love this guy right here.
Wow, a lot of people forgot about that. Kanye West was a big, huge Trump supporter. And, Trump, I'm not aware that Kanye West was paid for doing that. And it's funny, if you guys remember, Donald Trump, he had legitimate friendships with plenty of black people. So all these folks that are coming out talking about how Donald Trump is a racist, I don't see how Donald Trump is any more of a racist than freaking Joe Biden was. And I don't see Joe Biden hanging out with any black people, if you guys go back, Donald Trump, he had friends in high places that just so happened to be black. Look at Donald Trump used to be friends with Mike Tyson. He was friends with Oprah before she turned her back on him. Clearly he's got some kind of relationship with Kanye West here. But I also think it's interesting how a lot of these kids are coming up and apparently whoever they're hanging out with, because these kids, kids aren't following politics. So I guess their parents, they're kind of like, maybe they're becoming Trump fans. I don't know. But you can't ignore what is happening here. I think the culture's changing personally. I think people are opening their eyes. I think people are waking up not to be woke, not democratically or hyper liberally woke or anything like that. But what I mean is that I think people are waking up. I think people are looking at what the Democrats are doing in office, and they're asking themselves, is life actually better while Democrats are in office? Because you want to know about Kamala's policies. Well, ignore the fact that Kamala is not willing to take any kind of interviews. Just look at what she's doing now. By the way, if you guys haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing and sharing these videos. You guys are always amazing and supportive. I also thought that was pretty funny how he said that Barack Obama wasn't black either. I think it's so funny. Nobody wants to be black till it comes to politics because you want to get that minority vote. You want to get that underdog vote, that support, right? But Barack Obama really isn't 100% black either. And Kamala Harris isn't black. I don't care what nobody says. I'm not going for this. By the way, if you guys haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing and sharing these videos. You guys are always amazing and supportive.